this lesson, we will discuss how we may classify computers based on how they handle the data. Based on how computers handle the data, we may classify computers into three main types. Number 1, digital computers. Number 2, analog computers. And number 3, hybrid computers. Let us now try to understand the difference between analog and digital computers. All the modern computers are digital computers. Why we call them digital is because they use numbers to represent the data. Digital computers tend to break the data into smaller parts and then use numbers to represent the data. Older computers were analog computers. Analog computers represent data using a range of values. In analog computers, data is represented as variable signals along a continuous spectrum of values. Digital computers represent data using one of the two digits 0 and 1. 0 represents the off state and 1 represents the on state of the transistor. The digital computers use different combinations of the two states of the transistors, that is 0 and 1, to represent the data. Computers may have thousands or even millions of transistors. A personal computer is an example of digital computer. A personal computer that is shown in this figure is a desktop computer. We will discuss more types of personal computers in the next lesson. Now let's see what are analog computers in detail. Analog computers were huge mechanical devices that consisted of electric motors, gears, and other moving parts. Analog computers represent data using changeable aspects of some physical phenomenon such as voltages, rotation of gears, and hydraulics. Analog computers use a range of values to represent data, and that's why they are more flexible than digital computers, but they are generally less precise than digital counterparts. For example, an analog computer by the name of differential analyzer, which is shown in the figure on the right, was introduced by Vannevar Bush in the late 1920s. This analog computer was used to solve different types of differential equations. Although analog computers have largely become obsolete, they have been used by computer scientists and engineers for mathematical calculations in the form of slide rules. Now let's discuss what are hybrid computers. A computer system that comprises of both digital and analog components is called a hybrid computer. Examples of hybrid computers are CT scan machine, ultrasound machine, electrocardiogram machine, monitoring machine, auto gasoline pump installed in petrol pumps. In this lesson, we have discussed the three types of computers based on how the data is represented. Let us recap what we have just discussed. Based on how the computers handle the data, they are classified into three main types: digital computers, analog computers, and hybrid computers. Digital computers are called digital because they use numbers to represent the data. The digital computers break the data into tiny units and use numbers to represent the data. The two numbers that are used to represent the data in a digital computer are 0 and 1. 0 and 1 basically represent the binary states of a transistor, okay, where the 0 represents the off state and 1 represents the on state. So different combinations of these two states of the transistors are used to represent the data in a digital computer. A digital computer may comprise of thousands of or even millions of transistors. Next, we discussed the analog computers. Analog computers use a range of values to represent the data. Analog computers use some changeable aspects of physical phenomenon such as rotation of gears and hydraulics to represent the data. Although the analog computers have largely become obsolete, they continue to be used in the form of slide rules by mathematicians and scientists, okay. The last type of the computers that we discussed are the hybrid computers, and a hybrid computer basically uses both the digital and analog components to represent the data. The examples of hybrid computers that we discussed are CT scan machine, ultrasound machine, electrocardio machine, monitoring machine, and auto gasoline pump installed in petrol pumps. This brings us to the end of this lesson. I hope you are now clear about the three different types of computers based on how the data is represented in computers, okay. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next lesson.